Revenge films.
That day, I got hungry after my night shift as a nurse. I decided to grab something to eat on my way home. So I walked around town looking for a place to eat. I'm starving. Maybe I should have asked Satomi to join me. Satomi is my friend and coworker. She is a nurse like me. It would feel kind of sad to be eating alone. Maybe I should just buy something from the convenience store and take it home with me. As I was walking and contemplating on how to go about my meal, I saw a little boy running towards me. Before I knew what was happening, the little boy already bumped into me. Judging from his height and looks, he seemed to be an elementary schooler, maybe 4th grader or 5th. I fell on my backside, and seeing me struggle, the little boy shouted at me in a very disrespectful manner. Ugh, get out of my way, old woman! What's your language? You're the one who bumped into me. Don't you have anything to say to me instead of yelling at me? He then climbed on me and started hitting me with his fist. Although he's still in elementary school, he was quite heavy, so I struggled a bit. What are you doing? Shut up! Just let me do it! What? I was shocked by the words that came out of his mouth, taken aback from the unexpected statement he uttered. That is not what children should be saying, nor is it something anybody should be yelling. He then grabbed my shirt with all his might he could muster. The buttons came off and went flying. Shocked at the same time by the strength of the little boy and the fact that I only had my undergarments on in public, I shouted, "Stop it! Don't you understand what you're doing?" Shut up! Women become quiet when men do this to them. That's why I'm doing this to you. He's still a child, but those words and actions were unforgivable. So I resisted and fought back with all my might. He was still little, so he didn't have the strength of an adult. Because of that, I was able to hold him down and stop him. What are you doing to me, old lady? I am calling the police. Because you might be a child, but what you did is unforgivable. Let go of me! The little boy screamed and squirmed. I mustered all the energy I had left as I continued to hold him down while reporting the situation to the police. We were in the back street, so there were no other people who passed there. When the police officers finally came, and I gave them more detailed information about what happened, one of the police officers firmly asked the boy the name of his parents and called them. Apparently, the little boy didn't realize that what he did was wrong and shouted, "Why do I have to go through this?" To which the police officer replied,
"That is because you did something bad. Didn't your mother and father teach you that this is a bad thing to do?"
"My dad told me that noisy woman will be quiet if I do this." Hearing those words, the police officers and I were dumbfounded. It's unbelievable that the parents who should be teaching their child good manners and the right attitude instead taught him bad behavior. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but it doesn't seem like they're doing a great job at parenting. The police officer said to me,
"It seems like his mother will come in the meantime."
So I waited for a while for the little boy's mother to arrive. Then a few minutes later, a familiar face showed up. What? Natalie? Natalie is an instructor at the sports gym that I go to, and she was the person in charge of my workouts. Natalie was also shocked when she saw me. However, before we could have a conversation, the police officer butted in and explained to her what happened. After hearing what the police officer had to say, Natalie turned pale and apologized profusely. "It seems like my son did something very unforgivable. I'm truly sorry. Billy, apologize properly to Macy." There's no way I'm gonna do what you're asking me to do, old woman. Shut up, ugly! I was even more shocked by the words that came out of Billy's lips, and how he treated his mother. The police officer asked me what I would like to do with the situation, but since the opponent is still in elementary school, and the fact that his mother is Natalie, my instructor, I decided that I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, based on the premise that Natalie will tell me her story. She then told me her story, and that was the third time I got shocked that day. Apparently, Natalie and her husband are living separately at the moment, and her son is living with his father. The reason why they are living separately is because of domestic violence, and thinking that it was the right thing to do, Billy imitated his father. He abused her mother and spoke ill of her too. Natalie thought of reporting to the police, but she was so scared to report at this time, thinking that it might just get worse. As an alternative, she went to the domestic violence center in town and asked for the advice. But hearing her story, I understood why Billy acted like that. Learning that Billy is currently living with his father, The police called Billy's father again. Then, after several unanswered calls, Billy's father finally picked up the phone and headed to where we were gathered. Hearing Natalie's story and observing Billy's behavior, I had a mental image of the man. Just as I thought, Billy's father, who came late, faced me and said,
"It's a child's deed! Stop calling the police every time!"
To which the police officers warned,
"It might have been a child's deed, but this is an unforgivable act."
Then, with an angry tone, Natalie added, "That's right! You're the insane one teaching our son to talk bad."
Shut up! Billy chose to live with me instead of living with you! What's wrong with raising him just as I want to?
He replied without a hint of reflecting on his own actions. Natalie might be offended, but her husband is a bastard. Your son told me earlier that if one makes a pretense of attacking women, we'll be quiet. Could you be the one doing that every day? Greg's face turned pale for a second when I uttered those words. And also, were you violating Natalie domestically? This is unforgivable.
What? Domestic violence? Where's your evidence that I did that to my wife? We have evidence. What?
Then the police officers said that Greg had a confused look.
The female officer checked your wife's body for some pieces of evidence, and she saw that there were many bruises that seemed to be made recently. We might need a physician to write a medical report about this, but if an offense report is submitted, we, the police force, will act on it.
Natalie, I suggest you submit a record of damage.
You've got to be kidding me! I won't leave without a fight if you submit it! That's my line to say. We're keeping a record of everything you said.
Then Natalie mustered up her courage and said, "I will submit an offense report," she said with all her strength she could muster.
Let me warn you. If you threaten or harm your wife in any way, keep in mind that your crime and punishment will be even worse.
Hearing those words, Greg flinched and dropped in a heap. After that, Natalie headed straight to the hospital and had a medical certificate written. She then got divorced from her husband. After that, it was found out that Greg committed assault-like attacks on several women. Because of that, he was put into jail in one shot. Then, as for the little boy, Billy, he saw his dad arrested in front of him after doing something bad, and he cried. Am I gonna be arrested too? Scared and shaking, Billy cried, so I told him, "You might not be arrested now for trying to attack me, but if you do the same thing when you get older, you will definitely be arrested. If you don't want that to happen, you should properly reflect on what you did. To apologize for your mistake is a very important thing to do." I'm sorry. I'll never do the same thing ever again. Billy apologized to me like that. Then after a while, I received a call from Natalie. It seems like she decided to move to her parents' home together with Billy, so she submitted a notice of resignation at work at the gym. According to Natalie, her parents are very strict, that her father is nicknamed the Gargoyle. She also said that the neighborhood children are afraid of him. She wasn't able to tell her parents about the domestic violence and the fact that her son rejected her because she was so embarrassed, but she swallowed her pride and told her parents everything. When she asked her parents for help, they lovingly accepted her to come home. Her parents helped her deal with the bastard husband of hers by hiring a lawyer demanding alimony, and they even demanded Greg dispose of his car and personal belongings and took them. As for the little boy Billy, he used to behave very naughtily and disrespected Natalie, but he doesn't seem to be able to defeat his grandfather, who is like the final boss, so Billy ended up getting scolded every day and cried all the time. I don't have a child yet, but if I have a kid in the future, I think that it would be ideal for me to raise a child with the help of people around me, together with the experience of my parents, and raise my child with the help of everyone. Natalie's father learned that Billy said abusive words towards me and his mother, so he trained his grandson to be a decent human being in a Spartan manner. I guess Billy deserved that for what he did.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.